Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. I'm very pleased to be joined by our old pal, Jacob Phillips. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. Very good to see you. I was trying to think about the last time I did see you. It was probably at Thought Bubble in November, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Where a splendid time was had by all. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it, Jake?
Yeah, it was great. It always is, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
always a great time. Yeah, can't wait for this year.
No, me neither. I mean, it's a real comic show, isn't it? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one where it's like I feel like everyone just descends upon it, and it's like it's everyone that you see everyone once a year, and it's there.
Yeah.
You can count on everyone to show up, so it's always a good time.
Yeah, I know. I think 'cause it's so creator led and there's not that much commerce there. Creators want to go to it, and it's a very medium slash art first kind of show as opposed to people selling collectibles and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Anyway, you're here to talk to me about your new book with your co-creator, your regular co-creator, Christopher Condon, which is it's a new book for DC, The Peril of the Brutal Dark. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate, as I mentioned off camera, I absolutely love this book, mate. I think it is tremendous.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we worked very hard on it, and it's something that we've been trying to do for a long time, and Chris has been trying to do for since he was like a teenager. So it's nice to finally have it coming out, and yeah, like it's well, as we're recording this, it's 6 days until it's finally out. So it's yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, right on, mate. I mean, and so we're here to talk about issue one, which everybody watching this can check out at the links below. Um, but first off, mate, can you talk a bit about the concept?
Yeah, so it's kind of like I'm pitching it as sort of Maltese Falcon meets like Hellboy meets um like Indiana Jones. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's that hard-boiled noir detective story that sort of as we go through becomes more and more this sort of larger than life adventure story. Um so yeah, it's got everything that I love. So it's but the idea is that it's this private investigator in New York just sort of gets put onto this case of this missing man, and um, things aren't quite as they seem. Something darker brewing uh, beneath New York. So it's a lot of fun. It's sort of that mix of noir and adventure. So yeah, really
I
fun.
mean, it really was it really is an absolute treat, and I love the way I love the connections you've rendered there. The other thing that it reminded me of, because where you very kindly sent me issue one, and I had all of that Maltese Falcon, Hammett meets Raiders of the Lost Ark meets Hellboy stuff in there. I think that's a very apt description. The other thing it has a bit of, I think, is are you familiar at all with the old, the old pulp magazines, the Archetypes, the Shadow, Dr. Savage, etc. Have you ever checked out the Spider at all?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so the Spider was primarily written by a guy called Grant Stockbridge. Yeah, that's a pen name. The real author is a guy called Norvell Page, and and basically the Spider is essentially a more bloodthirsty and deranged version of the Shadow. Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of the classic spider tales are these big sort of macro plot to kill a city stories. Yeah. And so for reasons that become apparent during the narrative, that was really speaking to me as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'll check that out because that sounds right up the same alley. But yeah, Chris is pulling from all that sort of stuff. He knows, his knowledge is much deeper than mine on most of those things. He's the one I've seen the films, and he's seen the films that inspired the films. That's normally how it goes. He often sends me a list of films to watch before we start like any project. Some of which I'll have seen before, and some of which I don't. Which I do watch a lot of films, and so I don't know how he's just seen so many more. Um, but yeah, there's always like homework to be doing.
And Chris is not a dissimilar age to yourself, is he? He's not
No,
like
no,
he's a
he's
venerable
a
old
year or
man.
two, year or two older,
Yeah,
but he's like I said, he's been thinking of this project since he was like 15 or 16 or
yeah,
something. Um, so he's been into this stuff for, almost 20 years. Um, so he's had a bit of a head start on me on that sort of stuff. But yeah, he was starting it. He was working on it in high school as like he was drawing it himself. I've seen those pages that he sent me a couple of years ago now. Oh, it must be like 2020. He sent me these pages that he'd drawn, and it's the scene that we have in the preview pages of Ezra going up into the apartment building, and that's all there. That's all the exact same opening scene. Um, so yeah, it's been sort of bubbling away in Chris's mind for a long time.
yeah. I think you can. I think you can feel that on the page that it's such a labor of love for both of you. And I think while that it has those story elements, that procedurally on a page-to-page narrative basis, it's really the hard boiled PI thing is the milieu in which your primary milieu in which you're working in. So it's that kind of hard boiled dick voice. Ezra Cain himself is your classic kind of Hammett Chandler kind of hero, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we wanted to sort of because years ago me and Chris were talking about Indiana Jones. I think it was when the last film came out.
Yeah,
So a couple of years ago, and we're like, oh, who like? I assume Marvel have got the rights to that. Someone's got to do that. So Chris started tweeting like, I've got this idea for an Indiana Jones story. Who wants to give me an Indiana Jones book? Um, Obviously, we never ended up getting that job, and
yeah,
when it came around, when we started talking to Chris Conroy over at DC about the Vertigo stuff, um, he sort of got in touch and was like, I saw what you were saying on, about Indiana Jones, because this is how long we've been working on this as well. Um, it's been a good couple of years. So he's sort of like, oh, I saw what you were saying. Do you want to come and do that here? Do your own thing, do your own sort of Indiana Jones inspired thing. So there is a lot of that there, but we didn't want to just do Indiana Jones. We wanted to
yeah.
bring it into that sort of, yeah, that hard-boiled detective kind of realm as well, and sort of mix those two things together. Um, so yeah, it's got a few, it's pulling from a lot of different places, but yeah, like for me, the starting point was sort of yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's like it is Raiders of the Lost Ark with like a Hammett or Chandler hero. There's a
Mm.
really famous Raymond Chandler description of how you should write private detectives right. And let's see if I can remember. It goes, down these mean streets, a man must walk who is not himself mean, who is neither tarnished or afraid. And Ezra Cain is one of those classic, kind of discredited policeman, PI heroes. He's tough, but he's smart as well. But he's not superhuman. He's just a regular guy in events that are way beyond him.
Well, I've literally just last night I finished reading The Woman in the Lake,
Yeah, right
um,
on.
and yeah, and I literally like I'm just going through. I'm like, there's so much Ezra Cain in here.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's yeah, like we're pulling directly from all that stuff,
Yeah.
um, and hopefully it's a good mix and it's not just us completely stealing everything.
Well, I don't think that's it at all. It's not. I don't think it's cultural appropriation. It's kind of. It's much more about cultural refinement, and you've got all these tools in your toolbox to play with, and it's the way you put them together that makes them uniquely you guys.
Yeah,
I really love Chris's ear for that kind of dialogue. I've got a great compliment about that. I'll share with you in a second. And I also love the way that his authorial voice and your artistic voice just kind of comes writer voice, not authorial voice, because you're both the authors, but it all comes together really nicely. So his like with your dad and his relationship with Brubaker, it's like the two of you have got your own machine going on, which
yeah,
is and you can feel book after book that you guys have really hit this groove in terms of working together.
yeah. I think in terms of working together, it's just like because we worked. I worked out today. It's been like 9 years, I think, since we first
Yeah.
started doing. Because like before we even had a comic out, Chris was trying to get a short film made, and I did the concept art for that. That's how we first started working together. And that was, yeah, like, I think that was 20. It's because I was going through. I've just started drawing some new Texas Blood stuff, in the last couple of weeks. So I was going through like my folder on Dropbox, like with all the stuff in it, and I was looking at some of these dates, and it was like 2017, and I was like, this is disgusting. Um, so we've been working together for a long time, so it's like we just kind of leave each other to get on with it. We trust each
Yeah.
other to do what we do, and and we've got to know each other a lot better over that time. I think we just sort of understand what it is that we're doing, and I want him to do what he does, and he wants me to do what I do. So we sort of get out each other's way. He sends me the script, I send him some pages, and that's sort of we bounce ideas around. Like we're discussing at the moment what we will be doing with Ezra Cain next.
Great.
Um,
Yeah.
so we're sort of bouncing some ideas back and forth. But I have no real say in what happens. Like I'm letting Chris come up with the idea and I'll draw the pictures. Um, but yeah, but that's exciting. That we're sort of thinking about the future for this character. And that was how we wanted to do it anyway, because we've got the title and it's like an Ezra Cain mystery, and that. So the idea is that we'll keep doing these Ezra Cain mysteries, as long as they let us do them, and as long as people are still reading them. But yeah, I think Chris has got a good few ideas in the bank for where we can send him. So yeah, I'm excited. So I think, yeah, hopefully we'll be starting work on that proper in the next, sort of 6 months or whatever.
Oh,
Um,
Jake, that's great to hear. I mean, that was going to be one of my questions for you. If and you just answered that as to if you'd badged it up that way as an Ezra Cain mystery, because you want to have. I mean, because I think it's one of the great things to be able to do for you guys is to have a series character, that you
yeah,
can come back to whenever
yeah.
you wish. You can go and do other stuff, but then you can keep on plotting out their life.
Well, that's the way we like to work anyway. But, with that Texas Blood, we're basically that's basically Joe Bob
Yeah,
is our sort of Ezra Cain for that, and we jump in at a different point in his life and we tell a story and we jump out again. Um, so it's great that it means there's two things about it. Is one that we can go and do other things in between, and another thing is that it means I'm not drawing the same thing and trying to get an issue out every month of the year. I can sort of, I've just started drawing it now, this new series of That Texas Blood, and that'll come out, maybe summertime. So hopefully I'll have a load in the bank by then. And then with Brutal Dark, that's been finished since I finished drawing it in December,
yeah,
and the first issue's out now, like next
yeah,
week. So I've had it completely finished for 2 months. Um, so it's a nice way of working. It means I've got plenty of time. It means I'm not, pressed up against that deadline, rushing it, and we can
yeah.
spend all the time we need to on the actual book and make it as good as we can. Um, so hopefully that comes across.
Well, I remember one thing that Ed Brubaker said to me about you is that you'd inherited your dad's speed, yeah, and that basically, that must be great given how many people struggle with deadlines to be able to
Mm.
produce work to the quality that you produce it, but to be ahead of your deadline and to have it that must give you a great deal of a sense of peace and calm.
Yeah, it's nice because like I've been very aware that I haven't had anything, on in terms of monthly books on the stands for like well over a year. Um, because I've been working on this stuff and now I've got a full year. I think I've got a book out every month this like in
Yeah,
2026. Um, which is a nice feeling. It's nice to know I'm ahead of the game a little bit. I'm like, okay, I know I've got something out. Because I had Everything Done and Dying that finished. When did that finish? January.
yeah.
Uh, and then yeah, so that finished in January, and then this starts the following month. So it's lined up perfectly. So I've got something out all the time. So yeah, it's nice that I'm not having to worry about trying to get this finished in time for that final issue. I know it's done, and I can move on to the next thing. So yeah, it's great. But I mean, I guess the disadvantage is that you can't tweak anything. But like after the first issue comes out, if people aren't receiving it or aren't happy with a certain thing or whatever, you can't change anything in, fix it later on. But I guess that's also a good thing. It means that the audience isn't interfering with the actual product in any way, and you're sort of
I
left
think I
alone
think
to.
that's I think that's a good thing because it's only in ongoing comics you can really have the luxury to do that, right?
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
if you're a graphic novelist, if you're producing novels, you win, lose or draw, you get the response when you completed it, but it's all your
yeah,
vision
yeah,
that way.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to getting back on it as well. Like, um, wherever we end up going next with him.
I can't wait to see that. And Jake, what I was going to say, compliments wise, is I think that your art on this book is phenomenal. I think it's some of the best you've ever done. And when you sent me the preview pages, a bunch of me and the editorial team at Titan were having a look at everybody's like, this is dynamite stuff. And there's a couple of things I love about it. And one is the characterization of your cast of characters. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, Ezra Cain looks like an archetypal, leading man of the late 30s and early 40s in a classic
yeah,
noir, but he doesn't specifically look like any known actor, you know what I mean? Which I
yeah.
thought was great. He's got his own face, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Going into it, I was like, I wanted to channel Clark Gable, but
Yeah,
without drawing Clark Gable. Because
yeah,
there's so many books that and I understand like some of my characters in various things, like um, Sam Elliott looks and Joe Bob are very similar.
yeah,
And I do often go in with a starting point, and then I try and sort of pull it away from that into his own thing. Because I do find it can be distracting if you're like, oh, this is just, this actor. This is quite clearly a model on this actor. If you're reading it the whole time and you're like, is this meant to be them? Is this, it can get a bit sort of distracting and pull you out of the world a little bit. So it's, yeah, trying to find that sort of middle ground. And also, everything I draw is based on a photo of myself. So it ends up looking a bit like me, a little bit like
yeah,
whoever it is that it started as.
yeah.
And the characters sort of morph that way, I found through the pages. It'll start like sometimes they'll start looking like whoever, and then they'll slowly morph into like a middle ground between me and them.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think that's a
which
beautiful
I think
thing,
is
though,
the,
man.
is the sweet spot. Yeah, yeah.
I tell you what else I really love in the book is the cityscapes that you've created. That sense of New York in that era. I think that's great stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I struggle with that stuff. I was just painting a cover yesterday for the fifth issue of this. I've done all the pages, I've not done all the covers. So I'm currently working on the last couple of covers. So this one's got like a aerial view of New York, and I was like, why did I do this? I like trying to paint it in gouache. I'm like, this is
And
such a
Goas as well.
mistake. It's
Wow.
so
Okay.
hard.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's no mean
So
feat.
it's really difficult. So I'm glad it's working in the book. It's slightly easier, I think, in black and white. But yeah, I had like stacks of photography books from the era, trying to
Yeah.
like get an authentic feel to it all. Because that's what I found about revisiting old issues of that Texas Blood is and look, especially after I went to Texas and I was like, this is all wrong.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to get it as authentic as I possibly can. We sort of bodged the geography a little bit to make it work for the story and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I try and make it feel like a real lived in New York. Um, that was one of the things going into the book that I was like, I really want to try and focus on that. Every time I start a new project, I'm like, okay, I want to focus on doing this certain, whether it's something like that, which is very much sort of like in-world stuff, or whether it's just a technique of, I drew this book twice the size as I normally do,
Yeah. Ah,
like on a
interesting.
um because I wanted to get that. Well, there was again a couple of reasons. It's like, well, I wanted my inking to look a bit tighter because I thought when I'm looking at my stuff printed, I'm like, it's still a bit like rough. So I was like, maybe I could get better at inking if I make it all bigger and it shrinks down tighter. Um, so I did for that reason, but also just the scale of where things go in the story. I was like, this will be like a fun way to sort of play with that. Even if you don't necessarily know, hopefully you can sort of feel that scale in the printed page. So, but then going back to this new project, I've gone back down to A3 again. So and I'm like, okay, this time I want to focus on like line weight because when I blew it up, when I was doing it bigger and shrunk it down, I was losing a bit of that like variation of line. So it's it can be like a boring technical thing, or it can be like a sort of more of a story driven choice. So yeah, but yeah, hopefully it all comes down into the page and creates that sense of sort of scale and the sort of world that we're building there.
I think it really does. I think the thing that's very successful is that, at times you're in this kind of close focus, like movie set in a small room, uptight on the
Mhm.
characters, but you're able to zoom back and forth between this big, kind of city engine type stuff. I don't want to give too much away, Ezra Cain is both right up close in a close up with the sweat trickling down his head, and he's also in the middle of some amazing stuff where it's
Yeah.
it's virtually widescreen, and I think you
Yeah.
handle those transitions with ease and in a way that's really compelling on the page.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah, like so you've seen the first four. The last two, it goes to a whole
Wow,
other
yeah,
level in terms of like, where it's going as well. So it's trying to capture that sort of scale. And that was another thing, like even on them first few pages of the first issue, when they go down into that sort of underground temple um location, um that was like my first time I was like, right, I'm gonna zoom fully out and get as much of this in as possible. Because my sort of default mode is just like, okay, we'll just stay sort of mid and and then I don't have to draw anything. Like all the hard stuff, I can just. But I was really trying to like push myself into actually drawing things that I would normally just sort of like not bother with. So like trying to get that sense of scale and like really um push out and get those characters really small and get that sense of space. Yeah, so that was another thing that I went into the book with being like, this is what I want to focus on in this project. So
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it read to me like you were having a fantastic time putting it together. I really felt that energy off the page. I mean, I can't wait to see the denouement and how it all winds up. And so it's a six-issue series, right, Jake?
it is. Yeah, yeah,
And first issue is out next week and can be ordered from the
yeah,
links attached here, as can a bunch of the other already solicited issues. I think we you can take orders for two, three, and four as well. And then it will
yeah.
be collected later in the year in the usual manner, right, mate?
I assume so. Yeah. As far as I know, I think they're trying to get the trades out pretty soon
Yeah.
after. So I don't know what the actual plan is yet. I've not had a date, but yeah, it'll be collected up as a six-issue trade, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a break, and then next, I would imagine it'll be sort of similar time next year. We'll be back with another arc, hopefully.
So
So
so have
that's
you got your
that.
deal firmly in place for that next arc?
I think we've been sort of softly greenlit for the
Yeah.
second arc.
That
Um,
that's great to
so
hear.
now we've got to work on the. I think Chris is putting together like a proper, you know, outline for it
Yeah.
and get that approved.
I,
So yeah, hopefully, I think that's the plan going forward is try and every sort of year or so come back with another six issues.
Oh, mate,
Um,
I'm all here for it. And just to round out talking about the Peril of the Brutal Dark, you've got some great variant covers coming along the pike as well, right?
yeah, yeah. I actually just got my box of comp to do yesterday, and there's some in there that I didn't even know we were having. So there's like a foil variant of my A cover, a black and white variant of that one as well. On this one, we've got who else have we even got? We've got loads, and they're all. My dad's done one for this cover for this issue. Tula Lote, and there's someone else as well that I'm blanking on this one. but yeah, like throughout the whole run, they've got some great artists lined up for it. So it's looking really cool, and it's great working with someone like Vertigo who have the sort of resources to be able to do that because
Yeah.
we're so used to working, especially with that Texas Blood. It's like okay, we can afford to get one cover
Yeah,
for
right on. Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole arc or whatever.
But you've
So
got the
let's
DC
we're gonna
machine
choose this
working
one.
for you. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that's we have the beauty of complete creative control over pretty much everything we want to do with them,
Yeah.
and the sort of the backing of that huge machine. So it's like best of both worlds for this.
That is absolutely wonderful to hear, mate. Before we go, Jake, what's next for you after Peril of the Brutal Dark?
More that Texas Blood. Yeah, like I say, I'm working
Great.
on that at the
Yeah.
moment. Well, yeah, I'm inking the first issue back at the moment, so that should be solicited in the coming months. And then yeah, I think we're hoping for like a summer release for that. So
Brilliant.
uh,
Well, mate, when Chris is free, you guys should come back on and we'll talk about the next volume of the Texas Blood,
yeah,
if
yeah,
that
that'd be
is.
great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then yeah, apart from that, it's just yeah, I've got the trade of Everything Done Dying coming out in April. Um, so that was a limited series that me and Tate Brumble did. So
That was a
yeah,
great
that's
book, I
out.
thought. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was really happy with that, and it was great to work with Tate as well. Um, and yeah, it's just me drawing more like sad people doing stuff.
Well, look,
So
mate,
yeah,
come back on and we'll talk about that too. And
yeah.
in the meantime, if you're a fan of Jake's work, if you're a fan of great comic books, if you're a fan of what Chris and Jake do together, and you love noir, or you love Raiders of the Lost Ark, or you love Hellboy, you'll find it all on the page here. It really is a tremendous book, mate. And I wish you nothing but success with it because I really dug it, and I want to see volume after volume of Ezra Cain adventures.
Well, me too. So fingers crossed.
Right on, brother. Well, you take care of yourself. I'll see you sooner rather than later. And well
Right.
done. It's a fantastic book, mate.
Thank you very much.
Take care, pal. If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.